metalusa.com. We're going to talk about, first of all, the death of Taylor Hawkins should never have happened. The deadly combination of drugs probably was opiates, alcohol, benzos. So my message today and always will be never mix alcohol with drugs. You'll live longer. And the reason I'm talking about this topic is Ted Nugent claims he was Eddie Van Halen's first phone call after Van Halen guitarist got sober. Whether or not it was his first phone call or is a lot of people are commenting on this. Oh yeah, right, yeah, he's Ted Nugent's first phone call. That's not the point I believe Ted's trying to make here. I'm not in his mind, but here's what I'll say. At some point, Eddie Van Halen met Ted Nugent, and Ted was clean and sober, I believe, all the time. From my understanding, Ted Nugent never took drugs, never drank alcohol. And Eddie Van Halen probably recognized that after meeting Ted Nugent, and somehow, inside of Eddie, he wanted to reach out to Ted and say, look, I want to be sober, and I appreciate knowing that you're sober, and your guidance meant a lot to me, and this is why I'm talking to you. So, drugs and alcohol have taken a countless number of musicians from us, and that is why I'm even talking about this. So during an appearance on today's episode of Sirius XM with Trunk Nation, Eddie Trunk, Ted Nugent reflected on his friendship with legendary Van Halen guitarist Eddie Van Halen. He said, "What a great man he was, what a force to reckon with, how he enriched our lives with his musical genius." And let me clarify, in case Howard Stern, his lying punks, are listening, because they made up a dirty effing lie on the Howard Stern show that I was jealous of Eddie and that we had a contention because of the way we play guitar. What a bunch of liars. I don't know anything about that. That's not even relevant to me in this particular topic. Drugs and alcohol combined is a deadly combination. Over 100,000 people a year die from opiate overdoses, and it would be a curious fact to know how many of these overdoses were accompanied by the use of alcohol too. I don't know if that factual number is on hand, but the fact remains, over 100,000 people a year are dying from opiate overdoses. I know for a fact opiate, alcohol, and benzodiazepines, like a Xanax or a Valium, in that category of drug, when you combine those three, they will kill you. And the reason I'm talking about this is because Eddie probably called Ted and said, "Hey man, I'm getting sober, and I want you to know because I look up to you in some way, shape, or form." And knowing Ted's sober, he wanted to reach out and say he wanted to be like that part of Ted Nugent. It's commendable. I say it's commendable. And it doesn't matter what I say, but it is commendable. you know, Ted Nugent said, on that stage, I was fascinated to see this guy was doing with a handmade, what this guy was doing with a handmade guitar. Back in '77, Nugent said, and I went up and I said, "Hey Eddie, I'm Ted. What's this rig? It's awesome." And he whipped out those unbelievable, unique licks of his, and he handed me his guitar. And even though it was this unique rig and the amplification and all these effects, and just one kit, just one of a kind. I believe that's a typo. As soon as I started playing his Stratocaster, it sounded like me because of the way I touched the instruments. Most guitar players will say it doesn't matter who's playing that guitar. The type of a guitar does not make the guitar player. It's the guitar player's hands. So that makes sense. And Eddie Van Halen has been known to take the guitar off of his body and hand it to somebody else and let them try it. It's funny. I just heard Doug Messenger on in an interview from Sunset Sounds say the same thing when he walked up and talked to Eddie while Eddie had his guitar. He took his guitar off his body, handed it to Doug Messenger. Doug Messenger says he put it on and played a few chords, and it was the best guitar sound he's heard. And he wanted to show him what he could do with the Marshall. It was slightly modified. He used a Variac, I believe, voltage regulator, and turned the voltage down going into the Marshall, and then he biased the tubes for that voltage, and then cranked the amp up, and it had a lower volume, but it gave him that signature tone. That's my understanding of it. I'm not guaranteeing it. My point of talking about this conversation is strictly about taking drugs and alcohol and not taking them. You'll live longer. Certainly don't take them together. And I think I'm gonna stay away from the comment section on this one, and we'll go with that. I'm gonna go with that.